Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to round number 5 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series presented by the SCCA Foundation. I'm Greg Ginsberg, and joining me here in the announce booth, as always, is Larry Lefty McLeod with John Grabowski working behind the scenes to give you all the best views of tonight's 60-minute run to the checkered flag. Tonight we head to the Finger Lakes region of New York State, where 75 years ago, sports car lovers first took to the streets of a sleepy lakeside village to determine which drivers and which cars reigned supreme. With a layout of over 6.5 miles and spectators cheering from the sidewalks just inches from the action, it didn't take long before the need for increased safety would eventually lead to the construction of a purpose-built facility with a shorter, safer, and I'm using safer in air quotes right now, 4.6-mile street course, acting as a bridge from 1953 to 1955. And so opening in 1956 and modified many times since, Watkins Glen International, where we are tonight, has become known as much for its speed as its pretty blue Armco walls that ring the 3.5 miles and 11 turns. So good evening, Larry, and welcome back to the site of our Season 5 finale, and the site where GT4 and LMP3 racers fought it out in real time and in real life just 2 weekends ago, Watkins Glen.
You know, when you bring back the history of where this thing started and went through the downtown and all that stuff, just reminds me how much I wish they'd go back to it and make every driver stop at every ice cream stand as like little mini pit stops. Sprinkles optional, of course, but I really would like to do that because I love the ice cream up there.
and there is seemingly an ice cream stand every half block.
You have to hit them all. That's the rules.
That's absolutely right. Kathy Barnes would love you for that statement. All right, Larry. So tell you what, just so you can take a look and everybody knows what's going on right now, we typically give our racers a 15-minute qualifying session where they have an open track all to themselves and get 4 flying laps to put in their best lap time for the qualifying. Tonight we're doing things a little bit different, testing things out maybe for next season. We're splitting a 25-minute qualifying session into halves, and we have on track now all of our GT4 racers, and at the end of 12 minutes they will come off track, and we'll send all of our LMP3 racers out to set qualifying times. They're going to go at it, and while they do, we're going to turn things over quickly to Kevin Ford, who's going to give us tonight's track guide of Watkins Glen International.
Welcome, everyone, to Watkins Glen International Circuit, located here in Watkins Glen, New York. Great to have you with us as we provide you your track guide today around this 3.45-mile road course here. 11 turns to get a lap done around here. We are located just up the road from Lake Seneca, and I'll tell you, this place is a dream to drive and race. Let's head up the front straightaway. As you'll notice, our main pit area to the right, our grandstands to the left. And as drivers come across the start-finish line, they'll be heading downhill into what's known as the 90. This is a very tight right-hander. Let the car roll through apex. We'll come right back to throttle. Use a lot of this track out here to get some good momentum to head up the hill through the S's here. Through turn 2, then back to the left for 3, then ultimately through 4 here to head out onto the backstretch. Very tough to get through those S's back there at the start of events with 2 cars side by side trying to work their way through there. Heading down into the bus stop now. We'll get down on the brakes. We're going to take a nice tight line through here. Right back to throttle. Come off the throttle, let the car roll here. Let that curbing help the car rotate as we come out of the carousel. Turn 5 here at the Glen. And then we'll head down into the chute and into turn 6 here. We'll let that car come right to the bottom of the apex, come right back to throttle, open her up. Then head down the short chute here into the toe. We're now into the what's known as the boot portion of the course. Come right back to throttle, up off that exit. Now over the little hill crest here. This will bring us down to turn 8. Very tight right-hander, another 90 here. Right down to the bottom, get right back to throttle, let that car exit up off the top of the exit. And then into turn 9, we'll be returning into the cup course here at the Glen. Then right back to throttle, track out off that exit, set up our entry here for turn 10. One of my favorite corners here, very fast left-hander. Up off that exit, now we'll dive down into the final corner here, let that car roll through the center, right back to throttle. There we go, up off the final corner, into the front straightaway. There you go, there's your track guide for the beautiful Watkins Glen. Thank you for being with us.
And thanks so much to Kevin Ford for tonight's track guide of what is turning out to be an incredibly busy and hectic Watkins Glen International, Larry.
It certainly is. As most weeks we tell you that everybody gets this virtual track all to themselves, today it's a big old party. It's a GT4 party right now with about, we'll call it 30 seconds left. So, should we talk about this format, Greg?
Yeah, let's do it, Larry, as we now have less than a minute remaining in our GT4 qualifying session. Of course, all flying laps for these drivers should count. You know, usually these drivers, they've got the track all to themselves. And here we had, I think, what, 21 or so GT4 cars all coming off the grid at the same time and all fighting for some of the same pavement. Great in a race, maybe not so hot for qualifying.
Yeah, so it's a little crazy out there, a lot of traffic. Unusual for them, but they, this is something that they're trying out to see if they like this for possible future seasons. Figured they'd use it tonight. What it means, though, is the GT4s get 12 minutes, which the clock just struck 12. I believe their flying laps will count, so whatever they're on will count. You can see right now Robert Schwenkler's got the top spot in the pro category. Lucas Dragotta top spot in the M category, but they will get their flying laps count. So one of the things we always have with our single car qualifying, I should say, is they're limited to 4 qualifying laps. This is Robert Schwenkler's 6th lap of qualifying. So opportunity to really get out there, set a rhythm. You could use the draft because you've got partners out there with you that you can maybe work with. A lot like when you see Formula One or other sports car qualifying in other parts of the world, they don't get that single car, single lap stuff. they get it like this. So maybe that's part of the allure, is to try and be more real world like.
Exactly. And so as you can see here in GT4 Pro, now jumping to the top of the leaderboard on his last lap, Kevin Carlisle. What a run for the driver of the number 27 Mercedes, as he puts in a 154.16, 1/100th of a second clear of Robert Schwenkler's McLaren, who ran a 54.17, as the checkered flag is now being displayed to our GT4 racers. And so on that last flying lap, they will be allowed to complete. Mariano Barrios third fastest, then Ken Copeland. Copeland, I believe, was our winner. Actually, no, Kevin Carlisle was our winner 2 weeks ago at Aschersleben. In GT4 AM, Lucas Dragotta turns in a flying 154.89, and that, Larry, almost 4 full seconds up on the rest of the GT4 AM field. Although, oddly enough, only one pro driver separates those two on track.
Yeah, it's been interesting the way they've done this. So what they're supposed to do is complete their lap and then pull straight off the track, I thought, and then the LMP3s would take to the track. Although, as you can tell, there are still GT4s out there doing like a cooldown lap. So
yeah, indeed. And it looks like, and I misspoke, I was looking at the last lap, not the best lap. So Zach Mosley, Dale Maxwell, not 4+ seconds off of Louis Dragotta's time. Yeah, only about 3/10 there and 2/10. So still pretty close running. Again, there should be a single pro driver separating Dragotta and Mosley, and then a single pro driver, that being David Payton, separating Mosley and Dale Maxwell, who qualified third in GT4 AM. As our drivers are finishing up here, and it looks like a lot of these drivers just decide to bring their cars down the pit lane to finish things up. And as they do, Larry, our LMP3 drivers, they are out on their out lap now.
Yep, so that's kind of the way they did it. A little bit of overlap, generally 12 minutes for each of the two different classes, or two different groups. The pros and AM scores, GT4s, they qualified together. But here we go, LMP3s, and there's a good shot of Bobby Childs. They're all on their out lap, and they'll get their chance to get 5, 6, 7. Who knows how many laps these cars can turn around this place. But let's just kind of see if the draft helps them, if they can work it out. Because we've heard a couple of things. Sure, the draft is nice, but these cars are very difficult to drive in close proximity to the one in front of you when you need downforce. They really do suffer from disturbed air. So we'll see tonight who does, like what we're seeing here. Dale Petrowski tries to just do it all by themselves, and instead, maybe who's on the other side of things and wants to use a bit of a draft buddy to try and pull them down the straightaways.
Well, and interesting is we talked a little bit before a race, as we normally do, to Eric Violette, who mentioned that he and Bailey Petrowski were working on the draft between the exit of turn 1 up to the bus stop, up to the inner loop, and he said it's worth between 1 and 2/10 of a second, but it makes things awfully sketchy going through the uphill S's as the front end of the trailing car gets awfully loose there. And so we'll see how things play out, at least initially here early on. It looks like Petrowski's decided to go it on his own, as we wait now for drivers to complete their first flying laps here. As we're on track, we see Mike Dam still trying to get some heat in the tires there on what is actually his first flying lap.
Right, yeah, he's second lap around out here, and he's still working on tire heat. That's something that, maybe knowing he's still going to get maybe 3 good flyers after this is an opportunity you take to really spend an entire lap or 2 warming things up. We don't normally spend much time watching drivers do this, but kind of neat in this format that we have a chance to see how they do this and how they utilize their 12 minutes, or what may end up being about 6, 7 laps.
6, yeah, exactly. Hey, Larry, let's do this. We've got sitting waiting for us in the green room right now, David Klimovich from Slow Bros Racing. I'm sure all the Klim Club in the chat happy to hear that. We're going to bring him in, try and get his thoughts on tonight's race and how the season has gone so far.
All right, joining us tonight here after qualifying is done for the GT4s is David Klimovich. So, David, a crazy format we're trying here tonight. What's your feedback on it? What do you think of doing this as open qualifying?
Well, I think it's fun. I don't think I'm doing so well with said open qualifying so far.
Not
I don't
quite
know
where
if
you're
you guys saw.
hoping to be.
I had a little bit of trouble getting out of pit lane, and then had to start from the back. We had an iRacing flag that had to be cleared by resetting, and then I got kind of tossed around in the front, and I don't know, I was a little flustered trying to stay out of the way, but still get my time in, and it just, my fastest lap, I dipped a tire, and so I guess I'm just going to have to work my way up this time, but that's okay.
Well, yeah, it's going to be certainly a bit of a challenge, but that's part of how this qualifying goes. If you get a bit out of rhythm and suddenly you're in everyone else's hot lap, it's kind of hard to catch that back up again. A little bit of an odd thing there, but
yeah, it's
yeah,
it's a really tricky balance trying to get behind somebody who's just a hair faster than you, so you can catch their draft and not get caught behind somebody who's slower than you, or about the same. But yeah, I think it's really interesting. I think it kind of shakes things up a little bit. It's I think it'll make for a more interesting grid where people are mixed up a little bit more than they might otherwise be, and I think we might see some more interesting passing going on because of it.
Yeah. Coming into tonight, you've had some decent finishes this season. A couple of in that 4, 5, 6. In fact, I think that's where all your finishes have been in this field. But tonight you're going to be starting in the GT4 AM field, 14th. Prior to qualifying a few minutes ago, what was your target tonight? What were you thinking you had a chance? Was podium the goal tonight?
No, I think I'm probably more around 4th or 5th place. This season, though, I definitely think I can get, I can get a 3rd or a 2nd place. It's really comes down to consistency, I think. Pace-wise, I can usually hit about the times that the top guys are getting. It's just hitting it consistently that I got to work on.
So now that you've done qualifying and you are on the last row of the grid, what's the target now? Has it changed? You think still can get up into the 4 or 5 range?
I think my best was I don't want to misquote myself, but I have made up a lot before. I think in the first race I went from 14th, I think, to 6th. So I don't know, maybe 7th or so, but honestly, I'm just going to try to stay out of trouble and see where the cards fall.
Yeah. Well, the other thing I was going to ask you about is you might have the biggest fan club, or at least the most notable fan club of all the spectators we have watching the YouTube channel each week.
Stubby notwithstanding.
Stubby he's a fan of everyone. Certainly, he's one of he's
a convert.
But you get the whole club comes in. They make themselves known. They're watching, they're cheering. Do you have that feeling? Are you conscious of that when you're driving? That there's a lot of people watching. Does that ever get to you?
Oh yeah. When I'm not doing well, especially, is when that gets to me. But I know the eyes are on me, and I can feel the disappointment, whether that's self-imposed or not.
Yeah, I don't know the disappointment. They probably disagree the disappointment's there, but yeah, I can certainly understand the pressure of friends and family and all that watching it. But are they also the ones that,
I tell people to watch.
Yeah,
I want to do well.
Are they the ones also though that when you have a good race, do they call you right away? Do you get a couple of messages, texts, and say, hey, good job, get us up? Are they the first ones? Do you get a good group of that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my girlfriend especially is very supportive. She makes me practice when we're hanging out. So.
Oh, that's awesome. That's hard to come by.
Yeah, big
shout
shout
out that one go.
That sounds so romantic.
That is awesome. Well, it's really great. It's been a lot of fun. It's great interacting with them as they watch the races and kind of cheering. We're not really supposed to cheer, but it's always good to go with the crowd if they've got a favorite for sure, and that's you're certainly one of them. But yeah. But so tonight, this format, this track, is this in the rank of your favorite tracks? Is this high or low, or just considered a normal track for you?
Oh, I love this track. Yeah, it's it just flows so well. There's a lot of really good camber and a lot of turns. I find I don't know about the other cars, but the Porsche at least seems to actually slide around a lot. You get a lot of slip angle at this track that seems to come a lot more naturally than other tracks. And that's a lot of fun when you get it right, and a little scary when you get it wrong. But when you get it right, it's great.
Yeah, it's good and rewarding around here. This little bit of roller coaster real estate that this place really is. Well, good luck tonight. It's a lot of fun. I think this new format, like you said, it's going to be interesting with the order maybe a little shuffled up at times, and you've got a good challenge out there in front of you. Before I let you go, is there anybody you want to give a special shout out, thanks to, or anything else we got a minute?
Yeah, I think I kind of already mentioned, I want to thank my girlfriend, for always supporting me, letting me practice and let me do this and supporting me, and as well as everybody else who watches. It's really fun to be able to do this and have a little club. It's a little camaraderie. It gives me something to talk about at parties. So
it's not
thank
just
you,
any
everybody.
club. It is the Clinton Club, as we all know.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, and thank you guys. You guys do a phenomenal job with the broadcast. I really enjoy watching them back.
I appreciate it. It's a lot of fun to call, and we're gonna have a good time tonight. So good luck tonight, and with any luck, who knows? Maybe at podiums in the future. If it is, we'll bring you in for a post-race interview.
We'll see. We'll see. All right, thanks, guys.
All right, everybody, there you go. That was David Klimovich, driver the number 21 Slow Bros Racing, I believe Porsche Cayman, if I remember correctly. Yep. There you go. I want to thank him for joining. Larry's, we've got about a minute and a half left in our LMP3 qualifying. Let's quickly look at where we are in the standings across the three different classes right now. We'll start off with GT4 AM, where again, a couple weeks ago at Oschersleben, Zach Mosley from Frito-Sport took the win. As a matter of fact, it was a Frito-Sport 1-2 there. But Lucas Dragotta, who is currently our provisional AM pole sitter tonight, as Mercedes AMG GT4 currently leads the championship. He's got a 4-point advantage over Frito-Sport's Chuck Labano. And then another 26 points back to Zach Mosley, who's sitting third in the championship. And then looky here, it's David Klimovich. He is currently sitting currently sitting fourth in the championship. He is 37 points out of the lead, but just 7 points back from Zach Mosley. Neil Weston from HTPK, who originally was scheduled to speak with us tonight. He is currently sitting fifth in the championship. And did he make it to the grid tonight? He didn't. Yeah, and that's unfortunate, because he had also missed, I think, Mid-Ohio, missed round 3. And so with only one drop this season, that's going to be pretty lethal to his championship aspirations. All right, let's look at GT4 Pro, where we had Kevin Carlisle win at Oschersleben a couple weeks ago. It was and with Chris Thorman finishing second. Carlisle currently leads the championship. He has a 44-point advantage over Jeff Jacobs, with Robert Jacobs running for the SCCA Foundation, Carlisle for SimCity Racing. Robert Schwenkler from The Wrong Stuff in his McLaren currently sitting third in the championship, 53 points out from the lead. Ken Copeland from The Wrong Stuff, Chris Thorman from D2D, currently sitting fourth and fifth. And if we go over and look at our LMP3 racers right now, Bailey Petrowski, Larry, looking to run the table. He's got 5 wins. And he asked, well, how do you have 5 wins in 4 rounds, Larry? Well, we had 2 races at Mid-Ohio, and Bailey won both of those. And so he has run the table so far. He is 268 points. He is 29 points clear of the rest of the field. Travis Schwenke from Orion currently sitting second in the championship. Petrowski's D2D teammate Eric Violette currently sitting third, only 4 points back from Schwenke. Then the 2 Orion racers, Mike Dam and Leo Dragotta, who round out your top 5.
Yeah, that 5, 6, 7 battle's real tight with Baron Glover there in 7th. That could be a fun one to watch develop tonight here. We're kind of past the midway point of the season, but points are crucial.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are encompassing race drops at this point when we run down through the point standings. So that should give you a pretty good idea how things are working out here at this point, as the checkered flag is now out for our LMP3 racers. Bailey Petrowski had already retired after 7 flying laps. Mike Dam, who we are watching, may have been on his final flyer, and as he crossed the line, turns in a 138.69. And well, that was his previous fast lap. He's actually now coming up to the line, and let's see. Well, he's going down the pit lane, so he calls off his final lap, and looks like he will start on the outside of the front row next to Bailey Petrowski. Eric Violette from D2D Sim Racing should be starting right behind his teammate. So we'll get to see if that draft works, Larry, up to the bus stop for at least 1 lap, maybe.
We should have a pair on the left side of teammates and a pair on the right side of teammates on that LMP3 grid. So we'll have the D2Ds, I think, on the right side and the Orions on the left. Should be interesting to see who pushes who and how that sorts out.
Exactly. All right, so we've got the field now starting to head to the track surface, starting to grid up for tonight's race. Let's run down the starting order. I'll grab the LMPs if you want to grab the GT4s. Larry Bailey Petrowski, as we said, from D2D Sim Racing, with a qualifying time of 1:38.317. And I should mention that was also 0.3 off of his best lap time in practice this week. He's going to be on the pole. Mike Dam from Orion is going to start on the outside of row number 1. Then we've got Violet and Dragoda, the D2D and Orion racers, making up row number 2. Then Travis Schwenke will line up in 5th position behind Violet, with Tyler King from Aerokinetics starting in 6th. Row number 4 is going to be Robert Hartley from Orion, with Bobby Childs from D2D starting in 8th position on the outside of row number 4. Row number 5, Baron Glover 9th, Marlon Jones will start in 10th. Then Josh Vidal 11th. Aaron Beaver will help make up the entire LMP3 field.
All right, and then getting their own split, it's going to be a GT4 field. Again, though, we do integrate the pros and AMs together. So on the front row, it's all pros. It is your points leader from SimCity Racing, Kevin Carlisle. He'll be on the pole alongside Wrong Stuff's fastest driver, Robert Schwenkler. Second row on the inside, your friendly neighborhood racing, Mariano Barrios. He'll be lined up alongside another Wrong Stuff driver, Ken Copeland. That's a rugged front 2 rows there. On the inside of row 3, it's going to be D2D Sim Racing's Chris Thorman, alongside our fastest AM driver, Lucas Dragoda from Dragonsport Racing. Row 4 is on the inside, Jeff Jacobs from the SDK Foundation. I think Jeff's up in the top 3 in points right now.
He is.
He'll be lined up alongside Frito Sport Racing's AM driver, Zach Mosley. On the row 5, on the inside, David Payton, another D2D driver, lined up alongside Dale Maxwell from Black Flag E Motorsports. On row number 6, it's going to be Tom Jenkins from midfield on the inside against, on its outside, Chase West from Aerokinetics. On row 7, it's going to be another midfield entry, Tom Jenkins alongside another Aerokinetics, Chase West. On row 8, I believe it is, Frito Sport Racing's Chuck Lubano on the inside and Mall Speed Racing's Andre Wedderburn on the outside. Row 9 will have Chad Sebring from Close Enough Crew alongside another Frito Sport driver, Greg Brockway. Row 10, Elias Alabi from Lay Pro Racing alongside Frito Sport Racing's John Casey. And then you've got the Flying Tortoise Motorsport on the inside of Russ Ruddock alongside May Force Racing of Stephen May. And we just talked to him, Slow Bros Racing, looking to move to the field. It's David Klimovich.
All right, and we've got the safety car, the pace car, bringing the LMP3 field around now, Larry, as they get ready for their first lap under green. And as we always do here in the Sports Car Series, the LMP3 racers will take the green flag, and then we will have the GT4 cars following about 10-15 seconds behind. They will then take the green. Want to let everybody know that tonight's race stewards are provided by the SCCA Foundation. The SCCA Foundation provides funding for the SCCA Academy, training the next generation of race workers and volunteers that make real-life road racing events possible. Visit sccafoundation.org for more information.
Going to be hectic out there, I think, in that GT4 field. I think David Klimovich kind of hit the nail on the head that things being a little bit shuffled, especially in the middle of that pack, can make things interesting for those that maybe pace is a little bit mixed up. It could be fun to watch down there. And the front of the field is so fast, though, between Carlisle, Schwenkel, Barrios, and Copeland. That foursome is going to be a force out there. Let's see how hard they fight early in this race.
Yeah, we'll see. And that may indeed keep the rest of the field fairly close. We've talked about before how well the draft works here, but also how few traditional passing places there are here. Obviously, one is going into the inner loop, where it's pretty much a game of chicken. Who's going to break latest going in there, and then it's basically just learning how to or watching and waiting to take advantage of your competitors' mistakes as they maybe go deep into turn 1, don't get a good exit, or perhaps have issues at that very tricky turn 9, the off-camber, very slow turn 9. As we're going to start to see the LMP3 drivers start to pair up 2 by 2 here in a few moments, as they should be coming up into that very slow turn 9.
Yeah, Stuart's giving them some instructions on pairing up, lining up, and how this thing's going to go. We will get our LMP3 start. As you can see, that group now coming up to turn 10. Well, the GT4s will get their own, and it could be chaos. This could be fun. 1 hour racing here tonight.
Indeed, and as we always do, we do have a live starter giving that start command here in the Sports Car Series, and the start zone is going to be right at the exit of turn 11, the final corner, pretty much right when they get to the exit curbing on driver's left, and then it's up to the starter to give that command when they feel it necessary and feel that it's time. You cannot pass until you get to the start-finish line, though. And the green flag is now in the air, Larry, and they are racing here at Watkins Glen. And it looks as though our inside lane, Bailey Petrowski, Eric Violet getting a better start than the Orion racers on the outside, as Violet's going to have to fight Dam through the 90, through turn number 1. Dam runs wide.
Violet made him almost got into the back of his teammate Petrowski. They're going into turn 1. Dan taking advantage of it by getting that good clean exit off of 1. And now they've broken it up. So alternating D2Bs and Orions, the first 4. And then we go to GT4s as they are about to get their green. And actually, they've got it. They're around turn 1.
They've got the green, Larry. They're now coming down into turn 1 and up through the S's. And Robert Schwenkler jumping to an early lead, gets around our pole sitter, Kevin Copeland. So move the wrong stuff is we've got a car going off and around in the S's, and this is the worst place that it can happen, Larry. It's the tightest area.
I see Jeff Jacobs in there. And they may be going full course yellow. They're going to go full course yellow here. This is
they have to.
A big
and there we go. There's the full course, because Larry, almost the entire field. When we look at it, where Jeff Jacobs started off, I think in the top 6, and he was the first car to almost make it through. He was, I think, the lead car that wasn't involved in the actual wreck. As we see here now, how things are playing out. So it's Carlisle, Barrios, and Schwenkler. So Schwenkler, who had gotten around and made an early jump on Kevin Carlisle, now falls back to 3rd, as I think Carlisle and Barrios probably just bum rushed him into the inner loop. Then Dragota, Wedderburn, Klimovich, Maxwell. Let's take a look and see what happened here.
That's Ken Copeland, who starts the chain of things. He got loose in the pack of that front 4, and everyone else had nowhere to go.
No.
As everyone tries to get through, and even the back of the pack continues to accordion. That is tough. That's a rough night, because Copeland actually had a pretty good run through turn 1 and up the hill, but those cold tires just didn't quite work out. Here we go on board.
Work out for him. Let's take a look.
This is on board Jacobs. Nowhere to go. Just blue arm toe to the left, to the right, cars in front. There's just nowhere to go, and it just keeps getting worse.
All right, so we have Chad Sebring, Ken Copeland, of course, Chris Thorman, Jeff Jacobs, and now David Payton in the pit lane, or getting a tow to the pit lane, as we are under full course caution. If we set the field here, you can tell that we've got Petrowski sitting at the top of the GTP, or probably not a GTP, wrong series, LMP3 field. Mike Dam, Eric Violet, as we saw Dam finally get around Violet going up through the S's. Schwenke in 4th position, Leo Dragota, Robert Hartley, your top 6.
Yeah, it's another replay of this. You can just see the chaos and how it's just widespread. There's nowhere to go. Even the backpack drivers trying to just get on the brakes, and they're doing it. You can even see Klimovich there on the inside. He's going to go right around by that guardrail and snake his way through. Opportunities arise. Look at David. He said he said his target was to still finish in the 4th.
Well, now he's up into a 3rd position in AM, Larry, after starting in 14th. So
he's got that. Well, so the one question we'll have to see is the stewards decide either to keep the GT4s at the back of the LMP3s, or do they go back to a split restart like they've done, I think, in some other series we've called.
Yes. Exactly. So we'll wait to hear from race control. But so far, if things don't change and they don't regrid and reorder, David Klimovich, I think he's already our hard charger of the day, making up 15 positions. Not bad in 3 turns, right?
Not bad at all. But the race is far from over. It is going to be an hour long. We are just 4 minutes in. But yeah, talk about a gift being handed to you, I guess, if you're David Klimovich tonight. Let's see how the Clem Club responds, see if they're happy to see that, or if they'll just be sitting around on their hands going, well, let's just wait. It's a long race.
All right.
A single file restart, I believe I just heard the stewards call.
That indeed.
And separate starts also, I believe they've noted.
All right, and so Larry, I guess maybe the other variable that gets thrown a little bit out of whack here is pit stop strategy for a lot of these racers now. Even with just a couple of laps under yellow, we thought that the LMP3 drivers would be able to make it 32 laps on a tank of fuel tonight maximum for what should be a 37 lap race. Obviously, those numbers have now changed, and in GT4, pardon me, we thought that, I take that back. We think that the LMP3 drivers could go 22 laps in a 37 lap race. In GT4, that they could go 19 in a 32 lap race. So, again, big difference here, and especially even as these drivers, they're going to do at least one more lap under yellow, and we can see here the pace that Kevin Carlisle is keeping the GT4 machines at. Obviously, a decent amount of fuel savings going on at this point.
Yeah, there'll be a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if somebody goes into hyper fuel saving mode to try and save that later pit stop, that one pit stop, or maybe you just say, just send it and just plan on making that stop and take advantage of somebody who's trying to slow play. Sometimes these strategies can be done on the fly if it's going to be that close, and we've still got 54 minutes left on the clock. I don't know if we'll call it, let's say if they were to go green soon, let's say 8 minutes. I don't know if 8 minutes is long enough to avoid a
make
fuel
it to
stop.
the end. Yeah.
But yeah, look at the order now. So it's Kevin Carlisle, Mariano Barrios, Robert Schwenkler. They all started the race in the top three, and they are still there. I think Barrios and Schwenkler may have swapped positions. Everyone behind them has changed because the rest of the GT4s down through the order at that point are all the AMs.
Yeah, I was going to say that 4th through 7th in pro are now sitting on the pit lane getting repairs, and almost everybody else here is an AM. I think there's the one wild card, and Josh Vidal in the number 26 LMP3 car. He's sitting right in the middle of, actually not in the middle of the GT4 field, sitting right at the back of the GT4 field at this point, because he had pitted in, and
I'm seeing some of the drivers even disconnecting.
Yeah.
So some that will not be rejoining, including at this point a very apologetic Cam Copeland. He's apologized to everybody for his actions, but he's not going to be joining, and I think David Payton's
as well.
Not going to reconnect. So means if you wanted to get some points in pro, or the pro category, and you wanted a top 5 finish, there may be opportunities tonight just based on attrition.
That's right. Well, not only that, Larry. I mean, it ends up being a bigger point haul for the AM drivers that are still on track right now. You know, we've got Maxwell and Labano. Zach Mosley drivers that, for example, I guess Mosley, who's sitting 5th in the championship, Labano, who's sitting, I think, 4th in the championship. These are drivers that are on the pit lane right now. Yeah,
Labano comes in 2nd in the championship, but did not have a great qualifying. So this is a huge opportunity for him, getting that move on up if he can get back in there.
Yeah, as he puts he's out on track now, and he's going to rejoin in 9th position, and it appears still on the lead lap, although he's got a long way to go to catch up to the field.
But staying on lead lap and having the safety car here is a huge opportunity for him if he's able to look at that, and he can see the safety car coming down the front straight. He's just coming out of pit out, so he should be able to attack and get to the back of the pack before the restart. So that's Labano is one of those that could be really up for an opportunity here, even with the wreck.
Yeah, and we're getting word from race control that the positioning for the GT4 cars is correct. Okay. And so there will not be any changes there. And lights are out on the safety car here, Larry, rather early. So we now know that it is only going to be a little bit less than maybe 3.25 miles before we go back to green flag racing.
So interesting is we here in the Ricmotech series, or varieties of series, we've had an occasion, maybe once a season in each series, we go through a full course yellow situation, and they are using the iRacing full course yellow system. I've used it in some of my own leagues. You throw that yellow iRacing default and says you have to at least gather the field. When the field's gathered, they typically then go, I believe, pits open for 1 and then 1 to green, then they go green. So that's what we've seen here. The field was gathered and then they open the pits and then they're going to go green. You can extend, if you're an admin, you can extend an extra lap if you feel, or you can eliminate 1 lap if you feel. But I think in this case, they're using the full default, which is about where we're at, about 3 full laps of this.
All right, and word we're getting from race control on the single file restarts, Larry, as opposed to the race start, where we have the acceleration zone and racers are not allowed to make passes until they get to the start finish line. That is not the case for the single file restart. They can, as soon as the green flag is out, they can all hit the loud pedal, and if they can make a pass before the start finish line, it is legal and no issues there.
Yeah.
And
in the case of Watkins Glen, that means that likely if you are 4th, 5th, or 6th row in whatever area you are, you're probably still going to be coming off of turn 11 when you get a green. So you may not even see pit entry, and you're already going to be full throttle.
You're going to be full throttle, going into the final corner. Exactly. And so the GT4 cars, they will drop back again a little bit to get a little bit of separation from the LMP3 racers, I believe, as we get closer to the green flag. And we see here where Kevin Carlisle is doing just that, as he and Barrios and Schwenkler and most of the rest of the GT4 field starting to lean on those tires a little bit more, where getting their swerve on, as the youngins might say, and trying to get some heat in those tires.
Yeah, a little bit of heat in those tires now, as they've kind of learned, maybe cold tires going in the uphill S's there is a bit of a dangerous moment, but let's not repeat that. We are a couple corners away from our LMP3s going green again.
Yeah, and matter of fact, command from race control for drivers to stop the tire scrubbing and get in line. And it is going to be a 45 mile per hour approximately restart once the pace car pulls off, as the pace car now pulls all the way driver's right and is going to then drop into the pit lane probably rather late, as if it was just a regular restart here, as Bailey Petrowski leads Mike Dam, Eric Violet, Travis Schwenke, and Leo Dragota through the final corner, waiting for that start command. And we are back underway here at Watkins Glen, and you see there, Larry, is the entire field just fans out and making a run down the inside. Eric Violet trying to get under Mike Dam going into turn 1.
Great jump, Violet. He timed that very, very well, but he put himself down that inside again, just like we saw on lap 1. And I don't know that he's going to be able to have the run to beat Mike Dam up the hill. Looks like Dam's going to be able to get in front of him. And now it looks like Travis Schwenke may try to use some of that draft. And Dragota, it looks like an entire gang rush of Orions now going around the DTD of Eric Violet.
All right, and the GT4 racers now, Larry, getting the green as they go into the 90 with Carlisle and Schwenkler. Mariano Barrios sliding into third, so Schwenkler makes up a position on the restart there. Lucas Dragota continues to lead Wedderburn and Klimovich, Stephen May in the AM field as they are dropping back a little bit. Lucas Dragota is a nice little bridge between the two as our leaders now start to stretch out.
Yeah, good run here for Schwenkler. See if he's trying to make a move early. Actually, is that Schwenkler there on the outside, or is that Barrios? That is Schwenkler, just ahead of Barrios now.
Yeah, exactly. And Schwenkler almost came right across the nose of Barrios. Not a lot of room there. It was very interesting, Larry, with the LMP3s as they were coming up through the S's for the first time. We saw where Petrowski went to defend a little bit, moved over driver's left. Mike Dam, once he got around Violet on driver's right, coming down the inside, he and the entire rest of the Orion crew all moved drivers left to pick up Bailey Petrowski's draft and leave Violet out to dry. Did not work out that way. Violet was able to hold on to third position as we watch our GT4 racers come through the sole of the boot, making a quick look to the inside. Is Schwenkler not close enough, not near close enough to affect the pass on Carlisle going through 8.
No, I think it's a little bit of just kind of peek and make sure where he's at, maybe see if he can fake Kevin Carlisle into a bit of a move, which he didn't. Carlisle's pretty sturdy veteran there. But we've got this little battle. This is the battle for second now. As you can see, Petrowski already with over a second gap. Now it's Violet trying to use the draft coming up from the S's. Does he fade before he does. He fades in before the loop. It's back in, but Dam's going to go around. Oh, he's going to be there when Violet comes by. And the rest of the field, Dam hit the wall hard.
Hard hit. We can see the big change in the body work there as he loses the rear end of the car. So that is going to force Mike Dam to head to the pit lane and affect a lot of repairs as he now drops to the back of the LMP3 field. That now moves his teammate Leo Dragotta up into third position as Dragotta got around Travis Schwenke and is also ahead of Robert Hartley. Let's take a look again and see what happened here, Larry, as Violet and Dam went into the inner loop.
He gets a bump here, and then this sets the car bouncing, and then the tail slides, and he's got nowhere to go. He locks them all up to try to avoid the hook and back onto the track, but then hits the wall on the driver's right there. But remember, we watched Mike Dam during qualifying. We had the camera on him early, and he was sacrificing laps to get heat in the tires. I think this is why. I think that's a loose car until he gets heat in it, and I don't think he got enough heat in it during that yellow flag situation. And now it's going to cost him an opportunity for any kind of race.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, we saw there as they were going in where Violet was not willing to engage Dam and try to get into these games and try to outbreak him going into the inner loop. And as I look back at Oscherschleben a couple of weeks ago, we talked about how Violet had a more stable setup than his teammate Petrowski, and he said that in talking to him before tonight's race, he said that he was going to go to that loose setup here at the Glen because he thought that, because of the camber and so many of the corners, that this track could, withstand that. And using the groove around here, it perhaps would not be the liability that it was at a very flat Oscherschleben. And but it looked as though going into the inner loop, he wasn't willing to trust the car.
And that maybe just be it. He was willing to hang back because he didn't want to push the side-by-side with a potentially loose car. And it turns out Mike Dam's car might be looser, but take a look at this. As we've got this little battle going on, that's Marlon Jones, Tyler King, Josh Vidal, all battling here for about the 6th spot, I believe.
Yeah, that is right now for 7th position that King is currently in the Aerokinetics car, and he's got Vidal. And might as well add Vidal, Jones, and now Aaron Beavers in that group as well. Yeah.
It's quite a little pack. And we've seen this before, but we've always heard that these cars, when they get in really close, tight quarters, they start to push a lot, really wear on those front tires. We'll see if now the second in line there, Marlon Jones, can overcome that, maybe get a run on King as they head down the front straight, and then, of course, down that long back straight to the inner loop. But Tyler King's got a pretty good run through that turns 9 and 10 and 11.
Yeah, and looks like he's making up some ground on Bobby Childs possibly, as well as Larry, as they go by the front straight. They pass by a car that's on the pit lane taking repairs, not just Mike Dam now, but Baron Glover had some issues as well. Let's take a look and see what happened to Baron as he was going into the inner loop. Looks like he might have had some.
This is going to look a lot like Mike Dam's, maybe. A little looser, a little different one, but he hits the wall on the left instead of on the right. And he wrecks the front of the car instead of the back of the car. But Baron Glover now in the pits for a lengthy repair.
So the inner loop turning very early on to be kind of the widowmaker here for our LMP3 cars, whereas the GT4 cars all experienced their big one on the first lap going through the S's.
Marlon Jones seems to be in a bit of a struggle moment here. I don't know if there's something up with the car, but he's lost a bunch of spots. Remember, when we first went to that whole thing, he and Tyler King were more or less side by side.
Mm-hmm.
Now Jones has dropped to the back, even about a second or so behind
Beaver.
So, as we catch back up to the front four, which includes 3 of our pro drivers and our leading AM driver, Lucas Dragotta, who's going to hang right with this crowd, trying to pull away from his compatriots there with Wedderburn and Klimovich running second and third, a few seconds back. This is where you talked about potential fuel savings in this now slightly shortened sort of race with that long yellow to start the thing. Can a Barrios or a Schwenkler or even a Lucas Dragotta save some fuel just riding in this train?
Yeah, exactly. And so, we said earlier that Lucas is currently your points leader in GT4 AM, looking for win number 4 tonight. I think we found him more often than not, Larry, mixed in with these pro drivers, and it just becomes more of it's a nice little game to play to have these drivers pull you along a little bit, be able to learn a little bit about what they're doing, and then make that decision later on during the race whether to engage or whether to then lay back a little bit, don't engage in their fight, but still have a nice margin over the rest of the field.
Yeah, he's had some pretty good, strong points pulls in these early races. But last time out, Lucas was got that little bit of a rough go there at Oschersleben, finishing back in 8th. So I think he wants to recover from that. His points lead is just 4 points over Chuck Lobano.
And and that's probably the most shocking thing. We've talked about how in the AM category, across the GT4 category, you receive points based on your finishing position and not your finishing position in the aggregate for all of the GT4 cars, not just for Pro or for AM. And so even with 3 wins on the season right now, Dragota only finds himself 4 points ahead of Chuck Lobano, who only has a single win so far this season, and then Zach Mosley, who also only has a single win this season, is another 26 points back from there.
Yeah, Lobano's done a great job. He's probably been the most consistent in the field in the AMs. Podium every race. Like you mentioned, he has that 1 win from back at Mid-Ohio. He's got a couple of second places thrown in there, so he's been consistent. His struggle may be tonight after that opening lap wreck. He's able to get back on track. He is running 5th, right behind Jenkins, but they're each right now behind their leader, Dragota. They're, we'll call it about 9 or 10 seconds back from Leo, who's clinging to the pro lead right now with the front 3. Really pushing at the front of this thing. It seems Schwenkler and Barrios now are just content to hang back just a little bit. Running a pretty solid clip here. Look at their lap times last time by. They were all, this group here, all of them in the 54s. Remember, they all qualified in 54, so they're essentially running qualifying pace, and maybe that's got as much to do with no one making passes as anything.
Could very well.
Fast.
Yeah. And so Klimovich now is running 2nd in AM, and he's leading that second pack. And it's not much of a pack, actually. The Porsche driver there only seems to have Andre Wedderburn along with them, but they're lapping over 1.1 seconds off of what the top 4 drivers.
And here come the prototypes. The LP3s now are starting to come through. That one looks like Leo Dragota. I think Travis Schwenke right there.
Hartley behind.
The Orion train is making its way through the GT4s. What's left of the Orion train with Mike Dam no longer in the picture.
So does that mean it lost the engine, or was that like the dining car? Yeah, wow. And look at how on entry there, Larry, in the first right-hand portion of the inner loop, how much air Schwenke's car got is literally all 4 wheels ended up airborne.
Yeah, he's able to control it, so the setup must be okay. As we had seen, though, maybe the second bump, if you throw that too hard, maybe the entry is okay. It's the second one you don't want to hit too hard. Look at this. This is the traffic these guys would like to see affect Eric Violette more than themselves. They're trying to stay together, and that's Hartley. Maybe dying here. He's going to hit that wall on the right. And he does.
And somehow, Larry, as he bounces off the Armco, manages to avoid all the drivers around him. Our top 4 in GT4 made it through unscathed. Let's take a look at this again. Yeah. And I don't know what happened here. It looked like he just poked.
It's an accordion. If you watch at the front, he's right in the back of Schwenke, and Schwenke, I think, checked up a little bit. Yep, and then it just caught Hartley a little bit off guard. He didn't expect to check up like that, but amazing by the rest of the field to get around him.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was Schwenke getting hard on the brakes or if he was just tapping to make sure that the pedal was there, because it was just the smallest little tap. Let's take a look here. We'll take one more look at it.
Yeah, just watch the gaps as we see here. Watch the gaps. There's Schwenke to Dragota in front of them, and Schwenke, I think, is just leaving a little bit of room. Hartley just didn't expect it. I think they just didn't expect to anticipate what was going on, and he may have lucked out and avoided a lot of damage and even a bigger pile up.
Yeah, very, very soft kiss of the Armco there.
As Carlisle and Schwinkler have opened up just a little daylight back to Barrios. Yeah, he's now about a second back of these guys with these LMP3s making their way through. It's just looking chaotic out there.
Doesn't it always either?
A little more so tonight, maybe.
Yeah. And remember, well, and remember that is with so many of our racers not rejoining. Although it looks like most of the drivers that were part of that lap 1 incident in GT4 have made it out for the most part, anywhere between 2 and 4 laps down. But
Chris Norman's back out there, Dylan Maxwell, Jeff Jacobs, Zach Mosley.
Sebring is back out there.
But we'll see if he comes back out.
Stubby in the chat says Bailey must not be feeling well tonight. He doesn't have a 27-second lead.
It may be possible. Just maybe. Well, and again, if Eric decided to copy the setup for Bailey's, their overall pace throughout the length of the long run will be pretty similar. But we'll see. Bailey's looking like every lap is for a qualifying win. Holding that curve on throttle early, just that little moments of slip angle. Rotate. Sometimes these things naturally push. You have to kind of force it to rotate a little bit, and then these things also have a high tendency to brake lock, especially in slow corners like a turn 9 or something. Well, we're hearing Klimovich may have had something.
Yeah, let's take a look because he's coming up through the S's, and it sounds like he may have gone off driver's left coming through there. Let's take a look.
That's Wedderburn on his right as they go side by side up the S's.
Oh, there might have been some contact, Larry.
Ooh, Wedderburn might have taken the bigger hit there.
Oh, certainly, as Klimovich manages to keep it off the Armco. Yeah, Wedderburn taking the brunt of it there. And Klimovich now ends up losing second place to Chuck Labano. So move Labano in his Mercedes up into second position. And Klimovich now with a challenge from Tom Jenkins from behind.
We talked about Labano had that rough qualifying, a lot like David Klimovich did. Labano was caught in the wreck. Klimovich was not got around it. Labano managed to get the repairs done, get back out, and look about opportunity. Look how this works now. Labano sitting in that second spot. Huge opportunity for him, as Klimovich now has a Tom Jenkins behind him. But all three of these guys, you can see right there in the same shot. They are very close together. This is hardly over. Let's just see if there's any damage now on Klimovich's car or if that Porsche is still clean.
And of course, we'll be listening to hear if there's any word from the stewards about any kind of penalties or anything of that such with that incident there. Yeah,
they're looking. I'd have to see it a few times and wonder, obviously there was contact in a difficult spot. Did one lot leave the other one room? Did one come into the other? Did one run wide? And that's what the stewards will take a look at and make a ruling.
Yep.
Jenkins now is going to go to the inside of Klimovich into one.
And gets a little bit of slip there as he went very deep there into the 90. And now Tom Jenkins moves up in the third position.
Yeah, Jenkins.
All right, let's take another look at this Wedderburn and Klimovich incident here as we see Wedderburn move very far down to the inside.
Wedderburn did, but I'm not sure he was able to hold that line.
Yeah. I think that
there.
Yeah, it looked like as he got down to the apex, the car started to drift back out on him. But you know, again, that's for the stewards to decide.
They made a ruling, and they're going to call it no action to be implemented. So they're going to say it's a racing incident, maybe equal fault there, and let it go.
Well, I think it was probably the right call there after getting that overhead shot, Larry. Here as we jump back here. This is Stephen May. Greg Brockway, John Casey, as May now moves up in the 6th position. He's made up 13 positions. I mean, heck, most of our AM drivers have made up a number of positions here.
May in particular,
Running's up
though,
13, May's up 13, Brockway and Casey only up 8 and 9. What the heck?
And all these guys have slightly massaged bodywork somewhere on the front ends of their car after probably running into someone in that opening lap thing. But yeah, they're making the most of it with this May, Brockway, Casey little run going here. Russ Ruddock there in front of them, but let's get back up to our LMP3s as this teammates here running 3rd and 4th. Schwenke now ahead of Leo Jagoda. Still about 4 seconds or so back from Eric Violet in the D2D entry in second spot.
Yeah, about 4.5 seconds.
But your leader Petrowski in his D2D entry just reset fastest lap of the race, 38.7. Now the quickest lap by anyone in this race.
And sorry, Stubby, he may not be 27 seconds up, but he's about 8.7 seconds up a moment ago. I think that's here at this track. That's certainly commendable. As he's got a bit of clean air ahead of him now, making a run down to the bus stop.
Yeah, go here without much traffic at this point. As the fast lap of the race actually was just reset by Tyler King, running at 5th, 38.6 now is the biggest lap of the race. So Tyler on the move, and he's only right at the tail there behind Leo Jagoda for 4th spot, and they're only about 2 seconds back from that battle of Schwenke and Jagoda.
So what's happened here, where just a moment ago we were watching Leo Jagoda right on the back of Travis Schwenke, Larry. I can't imagine it was traffic to cause now what's about a 2-second gap up to Schwenke ahead.
Could be a little bit of traffic. Might have been on the previous lap, because the last, or maybe even on this lap that they're on now, as they had been a little bit closer, but they're only a little bit farther apart. But I'm just going to keep an eye on Tyler King, because he's really putting the pace. You can see him right under the tail wing of Leo Jagoda right now, and Bobby Childs.
And Larry, let's take a look, because I could swear that I saw the yellow McLaren of May off driver's left when Jagoda
was that Petrowski race leader that he just bumped into?
I think it may have, yeah. And so here you go. Ooh. He's off driver's left, and this is when I saw Jagoda and then Tyler King come through.
He's trying to find a place to turn around safely, going up track to do it, I guess.
They went that away, May. Yeah.
But wow, that was Petrowski dodging one right there. That they did a little side-by-side contact. That was down at the toe of the boot. No damage looks like to Petrowski.
No.
That'll be interesting if the stewards take a look at that, and I do believe they are going to. Anytime you got a faster car going around a slower one, there's the potential for some penalties there. Generally, the rule is the burden falls on the passing car to do it safely. Yeah, so we'll see. Does the stewards think that Billy Petrowski left enough room, or do they believe perhaps he may have a hand in this and may end up incurring a penalty? We'll have to see.
Well, tell you what, Larry, why don't we do this? Why don't we take a quick break and to thank some of our partners and sponsors, and when we hear from Race Control, we'll definitely update our viewers. You're watching season number 6 of the Ricmotech Sports Car Series presented by the SCCA Foundation. We'll be back here in just a few moments.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
And welcome back, everybody, to Watkins Glen International, where it's round number 5 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series presented by the SCCA Foundation. I'm Greg Ginsburg with Larry Lefty McLeod. And Larry, I'm looking in the chat, and Stubby says, way to go, Bobby. Let's go, Bobby. And you know, I'd be cheering as well, since Bobby Childs just completed a successful pit stop and refueled his car, and he is now back out on track.
Always success to make it past that pit stop.
That's right. Congratulations. And now it appears, as we're back to live action, that Leo Dragota and Tyler King have caught back up to Travis Schwenke running in third, as these racers now having to make their way through our top 3 in GT4 as they try to work their way past the Mercedes of Kevin Carlisle and the McLarens of Robert Schwenkler and Mariano Barrios. And it looks as though Lucas Dragota, currently our leader in GT4 AM, he's fallen a little bit off the pace of those top 3, but our LMP3 racers, they make it through cleanly.
They do, but that's a sketchy area, it seems, tonight. Of course, that's where we had our side-by-side contact between race leader Bailey Petrowski and the Ferrari that we had seen kind of having to do the whole big U-turn. But also, Stephen May. We also we also saw the big issue there with Robert Rob Hartley, yes, thank you, with Rob Hartley and his issues. So we got to really watch some of the interactions going on between the LMP3s and our GT4s in the toe-to-heel section down in the boot.
And look at this, Larry, as Bailey Petrowski, as he's starting to run low on fuel, just reset fast lap, and he set that fast lap almost 2 full seconds faster than his teammate Eric Violette, who's currently sitting now about 11 and a half seconds in arrears.
That is 7/10 faster than his qualifying lap. And wow. There's arguably more cars on track now than there was at qualifying. Although there were 12 cars on track when he was setting his qualifying. There's a few more than 12 out there now. That's impressive.
And I think I mentioned that Petrowski's fastest time in practice during the week, Larry, was a 38 flat. So he's run 3/10 underneath that as well. Wow.
All right, so let's get to this battle though. As King now is trying to push Leo Dragota down to the inside as they come down. I believe that's into turn 8.
It is.
The inside becomes the outside. Look at King with that good line. Not able to make it stick though.
Yep, runs a little wide. Has trouble putting down the power coming out of the heel, and just could not get back up alongside as they went into very slow turn 9. So this is going to be one of those things where he's likely going to have to wait until they get to the bus stop, get to the inner loop this next time by to attempt it again.
He may And if he thinks he's faster, he could use the strategy of the undercut, just try to get in and do it in the pits and hope he gets out in front of Leo on their way out. But maybe he's just trying to put the pressure on, wants it here, thinking he can get the draft and then maybe catch a bit of swanky draft up in front of him if he can work it out just right. Now on left, is it enough draft? Is there any swanky draft to be shared from up in front? There may be. He may be doing exactly that.
Yeah, doesn't quite pull up alongside. And
no.
As Leo runs it very wide.
What
Unlike his
save.
teammate Dam, he keeps it off the walls, is able to save it. And Larry,
he's gonna have a penalty to serve, but it's a whole lot better than a damaged car.
Exactly. He's gonna have a slowdown penalty there from iRacing itself. He's just waiting for a position where it's going to do the least amount of damage, but he now gives up the position to Tyler King. King now moves the Aerokinetics car up into fourth.
Yeah, maybe he avoided a slowdown because he seems to be staying on pace here. But look at this side by side. It's one of the great things about Watkins Glen is you can go side by side in almost any class throughout the track. You can't always make the pass stick, but you can certainly stay there for extended periods of time. And Dragota now gets that spot back as he had the inside line going around 8, able to get the power down. He's going to hold on to that 4th spot for at least a couple more corners.
Yep, and that's the second lap in a row where King has had issues going around turn 8 from the outside, where he's just had the rear end kind of step out on him, and he's had a lot of issues trying to put down the power.
He's going to pit.
Yeah, he's going to bring it into the pit lane. So
Maybe
Tyler King pits in from 5th.
Probably thinking, go ahead and get in. If a guy can go that wide and save it, coming through the inner loop and still end up at the end of the lap in front of me, let me just go ahead into pits and see if I can beat him that way.
Exactly. And so I think at this point, Violet is the only one of our top runners in LMP3 that has not pitted yet. In GT4, Carlisle and Schwenkler have not, but Mariano Barrios just now brings his car down the pit lane.
See if this does anything to shake things up. How efficient are these pit stops? How much fuel savings for someone like Barrios who really wasn't pushing? Maybe he saves some fuel to make this an abbreviated stop with about 20 minutes to go in the race. Of course, that, at least for the time being, moves Chuck Labano, who we've got here in this little group, moves Labano around on the overall race order. Still second spot behind Lucas Dragota, 20 seconds or so back from Lucas. But you can see right behind Chuck is still Tom Jenkins, still pushing him right along. And I think you've got the a lap down or two there. I think might be Chris Thorman in that D2D Aston Martin. Bono on a pretty good run today. He will have to make an actual second stop, I think. I don't think his time in the pits early on was able to take enough fuel to make it to the end, but that'll be interesting if he can. But let's assume he's going to have to stop again. Jenkins also, I think, was one of those who had stopped early for some repairs.
All right, looks like Bailey Petrowski now, Larry, coming into the pit lane.
And out. Yeah, he's completed his stop. We'll see how that stacks up with his teammate Eric Violette now taking over the lead temporarily, leaving Schwenke, Dragota, and Vidal your next 3 in the line. There's Eric. Was about, what was he, about 6 or 7 seconds back from Petrowski at the time of the first stop. Let's see if that changes here. Though he's got some traffic in front of him now, though. That's the 78. I think that's Casey. John Casey in front of him. And he gets around Casey as well as, I think, Brockway. Let's see if he takes his opportunity to pits. No. Violet staying out. Travis Schwenke, however, is coming in. And his teammate Leo Jagoda is going to be in right behind him as well. So the two Orion drivers, Vidal, he's going to stay out. So Schwenke and Jagoda pitting from second and third. Petrowski's down to fifth, but he's about to take over fourth and then third. As the two Orion drivers make their way in. Not the longest pit lane, but not the fastest either here at Watkins Glen. Oh, it looks like Leo missed his pit box and it back up a bit.
And so with Leo doing that, Larry, perhaps Tyler King might have a bit of an advantage now.
Yes. Yeah. Take a look. Petrowski now on the back of Vidal. And then, of course, there's King. Already made his stop, I think. Well, looks like that. There's the difference. There, you're talking about maybe the missed pit box for Jagoda was going to cost him. It may have, as now Tyler King has made that pass of Leo Jagoda.
And look at this now as Kevin Carlisle, Robert Schwenkler, and Lucas Dragoda all pit in. So our top two drivers in pro, our leader in AM, come down the pit lane. And wow, it's like synchronized swimming, Larry, with Carlisle
another one missing.
and Schwenkler.
Carlisle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And where is Barrios?
Well, again, he took the early stop.
That's
so
right.
Here
He took the early stop.
11.
That's right.
Let's see how this works.
All right, Eric Violette pits in now from second in LMP3.
And Barrios may pull this off.
Let's see, he's coming down the front straight, Larry. I think he's got a great chance here as he goes through the 90. And it is just now where
Schwenkler's there. Remember, he had fallen back from Schwenkler. But look at this. These two McLarens side by side as they're going to go up the hill. Hold your breath, folks. It's going to get dicey here. Schwenkler now slots in behind, but is he going to make a move now? Right behind them, I think, is Carlisle. There he is in the Mercedes. So
yeah, Carlisle got out back behind Schwenkler. And so our pole sitter and former leader now slots in the third position.
So Barrios, great move, coming in for the early pit stop. Carlisle, we saw him have the issue with his pit box, shot past it, had to back up, and I bet that's the difference right there as he drops into that third spot in this train. Right now, it is Tom Jenkins leading all of GT4 because he has yet to make his stop. We'll see if Jenkins does need to, but look at Carlisle underneath the back of Schwenkler, basically pushing him along. Yeah, pit time, definitely the difference here for Barrios and for Schwenkler getting around Carlisle. See what kind of pace Barrios has now at the front of this thing. His overall race to Petrowski sticks his nose right in the middle of all this, trying to get on through and say, guys, don't just hold yourself where you are. I've rubbed tires already once tonight. Don't need to do it again. As he gets around.
And I'm assuming, Larry, is I don't remember if we had gotten word when we were at break or not, but that little run in between Petrowski and Stephen May, I believe no action taken, correct?
Nothing happening there. So, again, dodging bullets if you're Billy Petrowski.
Or dodging GT4 cars, same thing.
Yeah, that was Josh Vidal just getting his way through there. Tom Jenkins now in for his what could be a pretty quick stop. Remember, he had the early repairs, so this is technically his second stop. Let's see where he is relative to Chuck Labano. That was the battle he was having there.
Yeah, it was about 2 seconds faster in the out of the box than Labano.
He may be. It's going to be close. It's going to be another one of these side by side. Look at this.
Yep. And Larry, about 1.5 seconds faster down the pit lane, and there it is. As Tom Jenkins gets ahead of Chuck Labano on the pit exchange.
Yeah. Good run there for both these guys, but great job there for Jenkins to hold that spot. We'll see how long that holds up as they've got about 12 minutes of nose to tail. These guys have the same, all three of them. Carlisle looks like he may be the most aggressive in this group. He's going to have to pick off 2 of them if he wants to win this thing, though. Coming into tonight, I believe in points, Carlisle has the lead with a couple of early wins on the season, 3 out of 4 rounds. Schwenkler comes in 3rd. Barrios down 6th.
Yeah,
But,
and Jeff Jacobs, who came into the evening second in the points, but a distant 44 points back, didn't make it past lap number 1.
Yeah. And now Barrios is down at 6, but he also didn't run the last round at Oscherslav, and so he came in with a second, third coming into tonight. So Barrios, when we get into the idea of drops and everything, is probably going to be in a good position.
It'd be a good
He
shape,
really
yeah.
wants to win tonight. Look at the chaos here. Is that Schwenke and Violet, I think.
Yeah, that's as Violet now moves back up and retakes second position as Josh Vidal is on the pit lane. So Vidal pitted in from second in LMP3, one of our last drivers in class to pit.
Yeah, interesting development, though, is when the pit stop started, Petrowski was up 6 to 10 seconds on Violet. Violet had his own 6 seconds on Schwenke. That is now down to less than 2. So something going on here with some traffic the last couple laps here on these ins and outs, and suddenly Travis Schwenke has a chance to catch Eric Violet. Meanwhile, there you go, Schwenkler now trying to make the move on Barrios going into the outer loop, or the inner loop. Nothing happening there, but boy, is it going to get dicey. There's no room to breathe.
No, and Carlisle saw an opening there for just a moment, Larry. He took a look to the inside of Robert Schwenkler and then just saw the hole disappear. And thankfully held the brakes just a little bit longer and was able to follow the McLaren through.
This is some tight racing, and then the outside there goes Schwenke saying, "Guys, give me just a little bit of room. I'm trying to catch this guy in front of me. Thanks."
They weren't giving him much. They gave him the exit curbing, Larry, and that was it.
Yeah, Travis used all of it. It's there. It's paved. May as well take advantage. All right, let's see if this area, which has been the story tonight between the coming out of 7 or going into 8, has been 2 really tough corners in a couple instances tonight. Let's see if that's the one that actually decides this here. Barrios still holding the inside line going into 9, but look at this, he's leaving that door open just a little bit for Schwenkler now to push. Close this will be one of our GR86 Cup or MX5 is the way these guys are driving. I don't think we've seen a battle of 3 GT cars like this.
Oh, and Larry, off the wall, Tyler King in his LMP3 car gets the final corner wrong just ahead of our leaders as they now spread out. Barrios protecting the inside going down into turn 1.
And there's contact there between Schwenkler and Barrios.
And Schwenkler runs wide, giving the advantage. Look at Carlisle trying to use the draft off of that LMP3 car as Barrios cuts right back across the nose. But Carlisle's going to have a great run as they come out of the S's, Larry.
He might, but he had to really check up because, as you said, Mariano had really closed that door hard, and he's going to hold this inside line going into the loop. Carlisle, is he going to back off this time? No, he's going to stick it. Is he going to stay there?
And look at the brake lights a-flashing between the two of them, Larry, as they're both trying to adjust the car midway through the bus stop. But Carlisle, can he make the run around the outside on Barrios? I think he's going to get it done.
He may have. Josh Vidal's just trying to get out of their way. But look at this again, side by side still. That's a big slide for Mariano.
And Barrios gathers it back up, but in doing so, he now falls back to 3rd in the GT4 Pro.
All that set up with the little rub of the wall by the cars in front of them, and they had to check up a little bit, allowing the side-by-sides down into 1. Let's take a look at this as Tyler King's having an issue.
Well, this was what preceded all of this, Larry, coming into the lap we were just watching. As he came up on the back of Wedderburn.
And then he makes contact, and he's all the way out there.
And remember, Wedderburn was had been part of that incident with Klimovich early on. He had just come out of the pits after getting repairs.
That caused right there Barrios to have to really check up, which then creates the side-by-side and all of the subsequent action, all triggered by 2 completely unrelated cars 2 corners before. That's insane. All right, well, nobody's gone from this battle yet. It's just a different order. In fact, it's the exact inverse of where it was 1 lap ago.
That's right.
Now it's Carlisle, Robert Schwenkler is 2nd, Barrios 3rd, which is where they were before pit stop. So
with 7 minutes remaining.
Yep. Now, Carlisle was aggressive, and it paid off. Was one of the other guys willing to be that aggressive and go side by side down there through that inner loop? That was a bold move.
It was incredibly bold, and you know, there was just enough room to keep Barrios out of the grass there, but he just still seemed on the back foot as they went down into the chute on the last lap. Now Barrios tries to take a look to the inside on Schwenkler as they come into the bus stop, cannot get the pass made, and they're going to hold station as they now make their way through the outer loop.
Yeah, this might be sort of the breathe and reset for the final dash with about 6 minutes
Larry,
to go.
we've got Bailey Petrowski coming down the pit lane now with less than 6 minutes remaining.
And he's got lots of damage on that car. That is not good for your race leader and who had a string of wins coming in. I have a feeling he's not getting one tonight. Here's the replay. And look at this. It looks so much like King's issues. Same spot, same result. He backs into the wall.
Ugh.
Oh,
right there at turn 11.
One misjudgment. And Bailey Petrowski out of this race. Eric Violette now to the top spot. That battle, though, with Schwenke now comes up here potentially for the lead. And Violette's coming up on traffic. He's got a whole gaggle of GT4s in front of him. One of those, I think, is a Klim Club right in the middle of there, right in front of Russ Ruddick. Yep, and then you've got Brockway and Casey trying to stay out of this mess. Schwenke's trying to try and make his way through, but it might have actually been better for Violet than it was for Schwenke. Oh, this whole race has just kind of gone tipsy-turvy here in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, all in the last 10 here. Let's get back to our GT4 battle as they make the run up through the S's again, and maybe a little bit more of a gap there between Carlisle and Schwenkler this time by.
Yeah. Do we need to get a camera on Lucas Dragotta, because he's the only actual class leader who isn't a threat right now? There he is all by himself. Good, Lucas. We just had to check in, and all right, let's get back to the pro guys. There they are.
Thanks, Lucas. See you later. he's still there. He's still on track. We'll check back in another 2 minutes.
Yep. 5 minutes, 4.5 minutes to go. All depends on where now race leader Eric Violette is. Potentially Travis Schwenke if he gets there in the next 4.5 minutes. Oh, this is just going to be crazy. I think that Schwenkler's got one move left in him, though. I think I don't know if Barrios is going to be aggressive enough to make the double jump. Schwenkler, though, may try something. I keep saying this is the one spot to watch, because if you can push someone off their entry into 7, you have a shot to catch them and pass them in 8 or even 9. But it all starts all the way back coming down the hill into the boot. Schwenkler may have to try something like that on this loop if he can't make the pass on the back straight. And 1.5 minutes to go. Intense.
Insane.
They did award a penalty to Bailey Petrowski post-race. Not sure that's going to matter too much.
I was going to say at this point, it's not like he's going to end up 5th or anything.
No. All right, let's see here. Everyone's patient in line. Carlisle, Schwenkler, Barrios. Who gets the run off of 1? Barrios is going to get the turn in. Schwenkler's going for the better exit. Carlisle seemed to get the best run of the 3 of them.
Yeah, giving up that 1X there in order to get a better run up the hill.
What about a McLaren bump draft? Barrios.
I would have thought that Barrios, instead of moving from side to side, would just lock in right behind.
Yeah. Use the 2-man push, but no. He's going to try to go outside. Schwenkler's going to block. Big bounce for Rob Schwenkler there.
Yeah, that looks more to me like 2 people fighting for second than 3 drivers fighting for the lead.
I really think they're done right. I don't know how well these things push to bump draft, but if you're Barrios, you almost may be able to make sure you and Schwenkler end up 1-2 if you can push each other past Carlisle. They're not exactly teammates. They are different. There's no team orders, no teams here. They're all different representation. But you want a chance to win this thing, you got to get second place first, and one of those ways is to push the guy past the first place leader. As I think that might be Marlon Jones after his long in the pits. He's got himself up here in the top 7. Still looks better through the slower corners than Carlisle does. Carlisle seems to have the advantage on turn 1. These guys, I think, are going to get 2 more laps because Eric Violette is behind them, and he'll get white flag next time by. So these guys will get 2.
Yeah, Violet should be, I think, coming through turn 8 now.
Yep.
Oh, there he is. There he is, coming through 9. All right, so he'll get the white.
But
should.
He's got company.
Yeah, oh, yes, he does.
It's
there
only
is Travis
8/10.
Schwenke. Although
One
he should
lap.
be getting the white flag here.
Yeah, 1 lap to go, 8/10 between them. Schwenke potentially could challenge for the win here. There's white flag.
And look at that, as John has put up on the screen, how Schwenke has made up time on the last number of laps, and he's taken some big chunks out of Eric Violet's advantage here, Larry, as they make the run up the hill.
That conservative run through traffic there for Eric might have hurt him a little bit. And Schwenke's in the draft. Can he get up there, maybe down around the sole of the boot, perhaps? If he can use the draft to get close here. Okay, 2 battles to watch. You get this one, they're on final lap. The GT4 battle, they're a half a lap away from being on final lap. They're going through 6 into 7 now, unless the LMP3s catch them before start finish, in which case this race will end.
And it's getting very close, Larry. They're only 2 corners behind.
We might have 2 classes finishing side by side.
And there's no way Violet certainly doesn't have the buffer to just let up and let those cars by here. He is definitely under attack. I think the GT4 cars might make it past as they're coming into the turn 9 now.
It's going to be really close.
Yeah, Larry.
They're going to be awfully close. Violet, Schwenke, 7/10 apart. These guys, maybe 1 more lap.
Yeah, they're going to get 1 more as Violet and Schwenke now come into turn 10.
It's so close though.
And Violet, he's got the advantage coming into the final corner and taking his first win of the season, as long as he doesn't bounce it off the wall. It's going to be Eric Violette from D2D Sim Racing, your winner here at Watkins Glen. Finishing second is Travis Schwenke, and Leo Dragota a little bit further back here. But let's jump back to this battle for the win in GT4 Pro, where now Carlisle's opened up a larger gap, Larry, as they come up through the S's for the last time.
He is so good at turn 1. He gets that car powered down and gets through. Now let's see if Barrios tries to push Rob Schwenkler a little bit. He does not. They stay in line. Let's see if that battle for second heats up a little bit. See if Barrios gives it Lancey and wants a second step. They're fading back. They're now about 3 car lengths back.
Well, we saw once again where Barrios, Larry, took a look this time to the outside on Schwenkler as they went into the bus stop. Schwenkler went to cover, and they lost more ground to Carlisle ahead. So just a quick update to Leo Dragota finishes 3rd in LMP3. Bobby Childs, great run for him. He finishes in 4th, with Josh Vidal finishing their 5th in class. And I believe the only other racer, well, it looks like we had a couple more still running at the end. Hartley, the Beaver,
this
the
isn't
Jones.
over yet, though.
Nope. Here we go, as now we've got Schwenkler. He stays to the inside to defend on Barrios, going through the heel of the boot, and they make the run up to 12. And once again, Carlisle, it's not much, Larry, but it is 2 car lengths now, maybe a 3 for Kevin Carlisle.
And the McLaren's sitting there battling for second. Can Barrios get a better run than Schwenkler as they come off the last corner?
And coming to the line, taking the win in GT4 Pro, it's Kevin Carlisle, your pole sitter, comes to the checker with the win. Robert Schwenkler from the Wrong Stuff will finish in 2nd. Friendly Neighborhood Racing's Mariano Barrios will finish 3rd. And your GT4 AM winner, it's been a pretty quiet evening for Lucas Dragota, just the way he wants it. The Dragon Sport Racing Mercedes driver takes the win in class. And what a win there, Larry. Almost 17 seconds up on Tom Jenkins, who's going to be coming out of the final corner. Actually, he's already taken the checker. He finished behind our leaders. So Jenkins finishes 2nd, And Chuck Labano third, Greg Brockway, John Casey. Great finishes there for the two Frito Sport racers who finished fourth and fifth.
That was a crazy, crazy race.
Oh, yes.
Front to back, top to bottom, start to finish. Let's talk to some of these guys in a few, shall we?
Absolutely, Larry. All right, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We'll thank some of our partners. And when we come back, we'll talk to some of our podium finishers here at Watkins Glen International, where you've just seen round number 5 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series presented by the SDK Foundation. And we'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
And welcome back to Watkins Glen, everybody, where we've seen round number 5 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Sports Car Series here on Apex Racing TV. Let's take a look at that finishing order once again. Taking the overall win, the win in LMP3, Eric Violette from D2D Sim Racing, his first win of the season. Travis Schwenke second for Orion, with his teammate Leo Dragota finishing in third. And a great finish there for Bobby Childs, finishing fourth here tonight at the Glen. In GT4, we'll start off with the AMs, where Lucas Dragota takes the win for Dragon Sport Racing. Tom Jenkins will finish in second after having a great pit stop there, and ekes out the win over Chuck Labano from Frito Sport, who finished in third. And look at that, the three Frito Sport racers all finishing in a row, with Brockway and Casey finishing fourth and fifth. And in GT4 Pro, Kevin Carlisle from SimCity Racing taking another win here. It's his second round in a row, with the Wrong Stuff's Robert Schwenkler finishing second, Mariano Barrios finishing in third, and finishing a very distant fourth, Chris Thorman from D2D Sim Racing. And everybody else in Pro, Larry, ended up on the pit lane. So let's take a look and see who we may have here. And wow, we have an absolutely full green room. Let's do this. Let's bring in Dragon Sport Racing's Lucas Dragota, tonight's winner in GT4 AM.
Right, joining us here is the winner of GT4 AM, Lucas Dragota. And Lucas, absolutely chaotic start that all seemed to perhaps, I think, happen even behind you. But what did you see of that, and did that help you maybe get out to a lead over the rest of your class?
Yeah. Ken crashing really helped me. The safety car pushed Zach Mosley, I think, got wrecked in it. That really helped me because he was fast all weekend. And after the safety car, I just pulled ahead. And
Yeah, you seem to have a pretty good pace there. You ran with the front of the pro class for quite a while. You thinking maybe next season, you start running with those guys in pro class? You certainly had the pace tonight.
Yeah, I probably should. 17 seconds ahead of the second place AM, and
Yeah.
I think 10 seconds behind the pro cars. But there's races like glass race where I like got a penalty, and then there's races like this, so I probably will.
Well, it was definitely a great run tonight. You managed to be just in front of the large pile up that went on there and avoid any other issues that may have been going on. You had really good pace and well-deserved win here for you in GT4M. But I'm sure you got some folks you want to thank, teams, family, and others.
Yeah. My brother, my setup was like super slidey and he fixed it. It was big help. My family for cheering me on. You guys, an awesome stream. Everybody here. Oh, it's an awesome league. Yeah.
Well, definitely great to get help from other fast drivers that happen to be right there in the house. That's very cool. But Dragon Sport Racing Team, well done tonight. Lucas Dragota getting the win here in GT4M. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, Larry, congrats to young Lucas there. Let's now move over to GT4 Pro, where for the second week in a row, or second round in a row, taking the win, driving the number 72 SimCity Racing Mercedes, it's Kevin Carlisle.
Kevin Carlisle joining us here. And I tell you, Kevin, that coming out of those pit stops all the way to maybe even going into the pit stops all the way to the green flag or checker flag, I should say, that was some of the most amazing racing and some of the most chaotic. But the highlight was the move you made to be side by side going into that inner loop, make it stick with no contact, but you came out in front. Tell me a little bit about what was going through your mind in that moment to choose that as the place to make the pass.
I just had extreme confidence going in there. I knew Mariano would race it clean, and I would too. I just had to make him make room and just hold the inside down, because I've been running the inside all night, because those McLarens, man, they got some legs on them. They was so much faster in a straight line than any other car tonight. So I just had to protect. So I was like, well, I'm used to running on the inside, so I'll just send it from the inside and hope it stuck. And it did. I was able to hold outside around the carousel and just stay low to it. And then from then on, I was just sweating.
Yeah. Well, you seem to have, I think, and here Watkins Glen, one of the most critical spots here, the advantage coming through turn one and the exit you would get there. Is that the Mercedes as much, or is that your setup, or is that just your knowledge of this track hitting that thing just right? Because it seemed like you pulled 3 car lengths and they were never able to reel you in by the time you get to the bus stop.
It was a little bit of all of that. I have a really, not to brag, but I know a good bit about setups and just hours and hours of practice. And the McLaren's torque at really low gear is great, but it falls off around the mid. That's why the McLaren's were catching me coming up the S's. And then, yeah, I just had to hold my line.
Well, it definitely worked and able to overcome what we think might have been a little bit of an overshoot in the pit box, but didn't even matter. You managed to come home on what is one of the most exciting wins of the season. That was a nervous moment.
I was hoping nobody saw that overshoot. You know how fast I clicked reverse.
One of us saw it.
We see everything. You weren't the only one, though. So.
Nobody but you, me, and the Quim Club, my friend.
Yeah, I was like, oh no, and I just backed over quick because I knew I had to take more fuel than them, because they were able to kind of back out earlier than me. So I knew I probably had a couple more liters to get than them, and then I overshot it also. And then once I saw Robert take off, I was like, oh crap! And then Mariano's in front of both of us. Like, oh my god, it was stressful.
Yeah, but you overcame that stress, kept your cool, and it made some amazing aggressive following to get the opportunity, and then make that aggressive move and make it stick. And great racing also from Mariano to allow that to happen. Good run by all three of you guys. But Kevin, you get the win here tonight, but I'm sure you've got some folks you want to thank for helping you out.
Yeah, thanks everybody at SCR. My manager Jason came in. He kept me calm, kept me focused. Thanks to Chad Sebring for the practice help. Thanks to Zach. Thanks to Chris. And thanks to Robert and Mariano for being awesome drivers and putting on a really good race. Thanks to you guys for putting it on, and thanks to sponsors Oakley, Monster, Star Nursery, Jordan, KB Motorsports. Yeah, and appreciate everybody watching.
Well, great job tonight, Kevin, for another win on this season. I want to say that's probably 4 and 5 rounds or something like that, but it's a pretty good run so far.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yep, appreciate it, guys.
All right, everybody, there you go. Kevin Carlisle from SimCity Racing, your winner tonight in GT4 Pro. And so, Larry, I'm conflicted because we had our LMP3 winner ask and ensure that we were still doing interviews tonight because he came away with a win tonight, and I asked him who he was. I just didn't. The name didn't ring a bell. So
I guess we'll bring him in.
Yeah, we might as well bring him in. Let's talk to Eric Violette, driver of the number 89 D2D Sim Racing Ligier, your winner tonight in LMP3.
All right, your winner in LMP3, the other D2D driver, Eric Violette. Eric, congrats, but that was a crazy, crazy night.
What do you mean the other D2D driver?
Well,
You're not Bobby.
Well, there's Bobby Childs, and who else is there?
Oh, yeah, I think you guys have, there's some Bailey guy I think that's out there.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, I've heard something about him, but holy moly. So good to be up here talking to you guys again. I knew it was going to be rare, if ever, when Bailey joined over on the SCS side, so I am just so happy. In fact, I didn't even know I won until afterwards. I was kind of joking with Bailey. I said, I knew you got a 10-second penalty. I was hoping it was a drive-through. And he goes, what do you mean? I'm in the pits. I'm like, oh, holy crap. And I looked at him like P1. I was like, I didn't realize I was battling Travis for the win.
Well, that makes things a little more interesting now because I was gonna ask. I wasn't kick in.
I wasn't gonna drive any differently because we're in the points battle. So I mean, I've kind of relegated myself that the best I could do is second. But the top 5 of us with the Orion guys, you know, you got Mike, you got Travis. I think Leo's right there with us. Mm-hmm. It's just, I mean, we're like all like 5 or 6 points apart from each other. So I was just gonna battle as hard as I was gonna battle it. Put it this way, I flashed my lights crossing the finish line. Like you would for a win, even though I thought I got second. It was that intense. So anyway, holy moly, luck and strategy finally paid off.
Yeah, well, it's a lot of strategy, it's execution, because you had really good pace. We had noted at one point, I think about halfway through after the yellow to start this thing, you were still within a couple seconds of Bailey, doing a good run, and you were pulling away from Travis and Leo and Rob there, the Orion team behind you. At some point, they started reeling you in. Was that you backing down? Is them figuring out hot tires? Was there just traffic?
It was a little of let's just make sure you hit marks and also trying to manage traffic. So if there was traffic up there, I was, you know, trying to time it better. So it was kind of interesting. There was a few sketchy moments. I put myself in a bad spot, I think once or twice. Once by accident. I was just like, it wasn't even like I'm going for it. I just broke a little too late, and I took Elias side by side into the bus stop. And once I was side by side, I'm like, I'll just gas it out of here now because we're already side, but the damage is already done. But luckily we didn't touch. And heads up move by him. I gotta call him. You know, do a call out for his heads up driving. That was completely my fault, and I'll be talking to him after this. So, yeah, it was like I said, a little bit of luck, a little bit of strategy, and just kind of keeping it cool. For the most part of the race, I was just kind of keeping it cool. We started off. Dan was in front of me. I wasn't gonna, you know, take us too wide, you know, in the lap 1. And I kind of figured those guys were running low downforce or something. I was kind of waiting for, I wanted all of them to spin, but damn spun early. And Travis was back there. I'm like, okay, he's got to spin it sometime. Nope, he just kept on coming. I'm like, all right, hammer down, here we go.
Well, I mean, Leo Jagoda tried to spin. When you see the highlight, you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, can't wait to watch it.
There were a few others that managed to go around as well, but you kept your composure, had a really good race, and I tell you, Travis was right there too to steal a win you didn't even know you had away from you.
That would have been the worst if he got by it, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll get third, and then I find out that he wins. Oh my gosh, that would have sent me over the top.
When you find out, Eric, that going into round number 7 you have a 2-point advantage over Travis Schwenke, then yes.
it's so tight. These guys, you know, you've seen it season after season. These guys bring it every single season, no matter what class we're in. So, you know, hats off to the Orion guys. They do a good job.
Yeah, they really do. But you know, the D2Ds are really keeping the pace and keeping
not
it
too
going.
shabby.
No.
Not too shabby at all. Tonight, it's a win for D2D here in the LMP3s, and it's a 4th place for Bobby Childs tonight.
Nice.
Yeah. So good run there for you. But I know you dropped a lot of names, you've talked about a lot of things, you're super excited, but I'm sure you got some other folks you want to thank for helping to get the win tonight.
Yeah, Invictus, new sponsor for us, Extreme Motorsports for, providing us a fun place to play, Ricmotech as well, and, of course, you guys, the broadcast, it's always a pleasure. I know we chat sometimes on the side, things like that. I can't say enough about Apex Racing TV and the broadcast you guys do, and just personally, both you, Larry and Greg, just awesome to have you guys do this. Of course, my teammates, GT4s, I think had some trouble. I have no idea what happened, but I know they weren't in the standings. And Bobby could have had actually a third, but apparently he didn't put enough fuel. He was running last week's setup for 30 minutes, and so he probably could have had a third place out of this tonight. So thanks to everyone who watches the broadcast. I'm sure the Clem Club or whatever was probably in there. I think I went by David kind of sketchy one time, so maybe they're barking at me. So my family, my wife for letting me do this. This takes a lot of time, so I appreciate it, and I will let you guys go. Thank you very much.
All right. Well, congrats, Eric Violet, on the win he didn't even know he had here tonight at Watkins Glen.
And what an Academy Award speech that was, Larry. All right. Thank you so much to Eric Violet from D2D Sim Racing. All right. So, Larry, as we now know, the point standings have been updated. And as we go into round number 7 I keep saying GTP, LMP3, Bailey Petrowski now with a 12-point advantage over his teammate Eric Violet. Travis Schwenke, as you mentioned, just 2 points back from there. In GT4 AM tonight, Lucas Dragotta, he goes and cements his lead, but it is still only 9 points over Frito Sport Racing's Chuck Lobano, with David Klimovich sitting in third, 39 points back from there. And in GT4 Pro, it is SimCity Racing's Kevin Carlisle, your leader, with a 57-point advantage now over Robert Schwenkler from The Wrong Stuff, and Mariano Barrios another 21 points back from there. All right, so let's take a look at what we've got coming up on the schedule, Larry, here in both the World Challenge and also the Sports Car Series. Next up, next Monday night, 8 p.m., we had the swapping of 2 rounds in the World Challenge. We have round 5 next week. It was originally scheduled to be at Interlagos. Instead, we're going to be heading back to the mother country. It is the Nürburgring GP circuit for a 75-minute race for our GTP and GT3 machines. And then next week, or probably in 2 weeks, July 15th, the Sports Car Series heads to Misano. We were there a little bit earlier this season for the World Challenge. Great circuit. We're going to have 2 30-minute sprint races for round number 7. And then, of course, remember, coming this August, the return of the Ricmotech Touring Car Cup for our GR86 Cup cars and MX5 Cup cars. If you want to see about getting on the grid in any of our series, go to xmsracing.com. And Larry, as we bid everybody adieu, I want to wish all of our Canadian friends a happy Canada Day. And, of course, for everybody here in the United States, I want to wish you all a happy 4th of July. And we'll see you next Monday night here on Apex Racing TV. Have a great evening, everybody.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.